Hey guys, Jim Vinoski with Manufacturing Talks. Welcome back. Little change of plans today. It's just going to be me solo, and I'm going to be talking about my new book that just came out a couple of weeks ago called American Manufacturing 22 Tales of Integrity, Ingenuity, and the Modest Heroes Who Built a Nation. So I'm going to be talking about a few things, why I wrote the book, why I chose the companies I did that I highlight in the book, and what I want to accomplish with it. So I'll be right back in just a few seconds here on Manufacturing Talks. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinoski. Industry has a million cool stories, and Jim talks to the movers and shakers who are making them happen. Let's dive in.
Hey everyone. So yeah, like I said, just me solo, and I'm talking about this today, my new book. Very happy to have this in my hot little hands. It's all about American manufacturing, and there's a whole bunch behind it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, first of all, it's out there, and boy, if you haven't had a chance to get a copy, I would sure appreciate your business. I think it's well worth reading, not only for all of us here in the manufacturing world, but I think for everyone out there. And I'll talk about why. And that gets to the reason I chose to write the book. It really goes back, for one thing, through my entire career, 35 plus years in manufacturing myself, making a variety of different things, and I've gotten to see a few things along the way. But it was back in 2018, I had the opportunity to start writing about manufacturing for Forbes. And when I interviewed for that job, my original editor asked me what I wanted to write about. And I told her the top thing I wanted to write about was what we make here in America, because I just had the impression so many people out there believe we don't make much of anything anymore. And while it's true, we've lost a good chunk of our manufacturing capacity and capability, it is far from true that we don't make stuff anymore. We're still the second biggest manufacturing nation in the world. We should be first. I've said that many times. And that's actually one purpose of my book. I'll talk about it at the end. But the reason I wanted to write it is the same reason I wrote some of the stories originally for Forbes, and that was to talk about the really cool stuff people here in America are still making all day, every day. To me, they're just some of the most phenomenal stories, so deeply embedded in their communities, so important for understanding our industrial past and our way forward. And so again, I wrote a good number of these stories for Forbes, and then along the way got thinking, geez, I could collect these together and put together a really cool book. So picked out some of my favorite topic companies that I'd already written about and married those up with some that I found along the way that I had not yet covered, but found extremely cool and informative. And that became the 22 companies that I wrote about. Now, how did I choose those? I mean, again, the cool factor. I say it again and again, that these to me are the 22 coolest companies that I've written about, that I've come across in all my research and writing about manufacturing. But it was deeper than that too. Along the way of my own study, what I realized were a few things. The top thing, and that's going also back to my own experience, is how crucial the people doing the job are. The hands-on people doing the work every day are the backbone of our industrial economy and our ability not only to make things for ourselves that make our lives easier, but to provide for the national defense and all that jazz, very important things for our nation that, if you think about the history, and particularly of the world wars, where America made the war material not just for our own purposes, but for other countries that were being bombed out of existence, it's pretty crucial. And so that ability to make these things is all important. And even just the everyday thing, outside of wartime in normal days, it's still crucial. It's things we've come to rely on for the way we live our lives. manufacturing built almost everything you look around and see. And so that's crucial. The people who do the job are crucial, and the best companies are the ones who treat those people right. And that was a big factor in the ones I chose. I also wanted to cast the net wide. One person like me, whole career of manufacturing himself, still touches just the tiniest sliver of everything that we do in manufacturing. And so having that opportunity to write about companies far and wide in every different vertical of manufacturing gave me that appreciation for, let's find companies in not just, different places, but out of the way places. I mean, if you look at the companies in my book, there are a lot of them in businesses that you might not ever even think of in your day-to-day life, and yet when you read about them, it becomes very clear very quickly how crucial they are. And then the other one goes to my last topic, and that is what I wanted to accomplish. And so I'm really writing this book for two parts of my audience. And again, I think the audience is everybody. Obviously, this has particular appeal for those of us who've worked in industry, but I think it also should have appeal to the broad world, which is now, I think, coming to a realization how crucial manufacturing is. I think the supply chain crunch of the COVID years taught a lot of people not only how reliant they were on the things coming in some cases from all around the world, halfway around the world, but also how those long supply chains can break when things don't go well. And, in a time like that of utter craziness, how many things we ran short of, and, lead time stretching out to a couple of years for everyday items. It was just crazy. And so I wanted to write to show that broader audience. We still do make all these things in America, that manufacturing is crucial. It touches their everyday lives in more ways than they ever think about. And just to help bolster this moment that we find ourselves in, which is unlike any I've seen in my whole time in manufacturing. I've said this many times before, how right now we're in this time of the stars aligning, where the broad public gets that we need to bring manufacturing back. Our policymakers get that we need to reindustrialize. Our educational institutions are realizing how badly they screwed up by saying everyone had to have a 4-year college degree and a desk job, rather than fostering the hands-on workers who make things and do things that are so critical in our world. And so, all these different elements of society lining up behind our need to reindustrialize America. And so lending my voice to that, but also the other piece is more for those of us on the inside of industry. And that is, so many of us talk constantly about the brave new world of manufacturing, the Industry 4.0 and Industrial Internet of Things, and all the fabulous advances in technology and automation. And those are all crucial. We're not reindustrializing to the degree that we can without having a lot more automation, not only of our process systems, but of our business systems as well. And so that is all crucial. But what I also wanted to point out is there are fundamentals to business that really don't change. And so to have these companies, most of the 22, having been around for generations, and having been through business cycles and wars and disruptions and crashes and all this turmoil that we like to forget when it's not happening. It's vital that we look to these companies that have not only survived but thrived through those kinds of conditions, and understand what those business fundamentals are and how we can learn from them. And so my conclusion chapter, aptly named Conclusion, it dives into those business lessons. It divides the companies up into a number of different categories that I kind of pulled out of everything I'd learned along the way writing the book, and just talks about all the different examples that these companies set for these different vital business lessons. And so what I want to accomplish is to bolster that move to reindustrialize America, to bring things back. We've lost whole swaths of industry, textiles and garment making. We do about 3%. We make about 3% of what we wear anymore. Steel, we still make a good chunk of steel, about half what the world uses, but it used to be a whole heck of a lot more than that. Machine tools, things like that are the fundamentals of the supply chain. We've lost enormous, not only capacity, but capability. The know-how goes away, and that's vital that we get that back. And so the main thing I want to accomplish is to help bolster that case, to have, I think, what I've proposed is a moonshot effort to regain the top position in the world as the #1 manufacturing country. And I submit that if we only do what we really need to do from a national security perspective and just the fundamentals perspective of having a competitive portion of crucial industries like textiles, like steelmaking, like aluminum, like chips is one we've gone after really hard here lately. If we just go for the portions that we need to be self-sufficient, if it comes to that, we will once again be the top manufacturing nation. And so, again, the title of the book is American Manufacturing, 22 Tales of Integrity, Ingenuity, and the Modest Heroes. And I mean that in every way, the modest heroes who built a nation, because they truly did and they truly continue to. And so, once again, I would love to have you read it. So if you go to manufacturingtalks.com, click on American Manufacturing at the top, and it'll take you to a page with all the details of the book and all the ways you can order it, including ordering a signed copy direct from me. So I'm happy to do that for you. But if you want it faster and trouble-free, it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes & Noble. Go pick up a copy and tell your friends. Share the news that this is out there. I obviously am biased, but I think it is an important book. I think it's a book that is critical for our time and that has those broad lessons for both the audience as a whole, American citizenry, the world citizenry. I'm partial to American manufacturing, but I think what we're saying of America is true across the world, and everyone should be thinking about these things. But then too, those more crucial lessons for my friends in the manufacturing realm. And so again, please spread the word and share and let people know that this book is out there, and read it yourself and write me an Amazon review. I would love that. If you like the book, let me know. If you don't like the book, let me know. I'll probably be writing another book, and maybe I can do better next time. That's it for this week. Next week, I'm going to start into a series that I think I'm going to do one show a month about, and that is a deeper dive into the book. And so I didn't talk too much about the companies in it for that reason, because what I'm going to do is this whole list of companies that are in the book. I'm going to be doing an episode diving into details on each one of them. Now, I don't know if I'll cover all 22 over time. We'll see how it goes, but I'll definitely start diving in, probably just go in order of the chapters. So the first one will be Zamboni, and I think there's a phenomenal story there. So that's for next week. Tune in. We will be here every Tuesday. Always have great guests when I have them, so tune in for those shows. But yeah, here could be for the next couple of years, me diving into the companies in the book. So look for those shows. Love to have you here watching them. In the meantime, this is Jim Vinoski with Manufacturing Talks, signing off. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinoski. Watch for new episodes dropping every Tuesday. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.